tier 1v1 Quest Heresy blue side. It's Floid plays a Lictor Alpha melee specialist that can infiltrate and disrupt with some awesome offense and a little bit of support too. And up against on the red side is Adilla with his Commando knob, infiltrating commander that shoots you, stabs you and blows you up. Orky style begins range combat with this twin link shooter. Quest Heresy then, not a map that I like very much. I don't really play 1v1, so it's not something I have to put up with, but I think aesthetically it's quite poor. Some of this tile work seems a bit off, and structurally I don't think it's that great. This power right outside the base is not something I'm a fan of. I do not like very natural and safe power on my maps. But it is balanced, I suppose, which is why people play it. I think when they're bored of Calderas and Greentooth Gorge over and over again, they load up Quest Heresy. And look at this, we see Floid not pushing ahead with his Lictor Alpha early on, which I think is a mistake. Could have got a model or 2 or 3 of some sluggers with his flesh hook and engagement, but he wants these natural points up quickly. Floid going for his usual, well, 9 times out of 10 he'll get Spore Mines after his double termagants. Doesn't play Lictor Alpha that often compared to his usual Hive Tyrant play. You see both Commanders infiltrating early on, no detectors on the field at this stage, and Adilla with double sluggers and shooters in between. Seen a lot of double and triple slugger builds recently, backed up by a Pain Boy and perhaps a War Truck in tier 2. Can be incredibly nasty, especially if you have some weird boy Warp Vomit to set up one of their charges. There's the stun bomb of the Commander knob, his starting ability, stunning the Lictor Alpha there and taking shots at the Spore Mines. There's a lot of really nice burst damage with that twin link shooter, but is forced off by the double termagants. So Barb Strangler perhaps from Floid if he can get a Warrior Brood up, or he might just stick with double termagants, crippling poison early on to try and control the sluggers, and the Pain Boy is on the way for Adilla, so this could get very nasty for Floid. He's going to need to use his flesh hooks very selectively. Does he go for bleeding slugger models, which are 22 rec to reinforce, I think, or does he try and pull the Pain Boy into trouble and take him down? Hormagaunts capping, no sign of any upgrades yet for Floid. Nope. Infiltrates the Lictor Alpha here, and here comes Adilla. Pain Boy bringing up the rear. That guy has a power melee weapon that does damage over time, and there's the heal over time on the sluggers. You want to use that ability before you lose a model, obviously. Just before you lose a model, get that heal over time in, and there's the flesh hook on the Pain Boy, getting him into so much trouble. And these Spore Mines not able to really make an impact on those sluggers, and now it's double sluggers versus Hormagaunts and a Lictor Alpha, and that is painful for Floid. Stun bomb on the double termagants, nicely done, and forces off Floyd's army. Should have brought the Hormagaunts in a bit sooner perhaps. We might see some pheromone action from the Lictor Alpha. I think it would do him quite well here. And this very natural power is going to get hit by these sluggers with burners up. Gives them a couple of power melee weapons, these ranged burners to use, and increases their health, as you can see there, by 15%. Warrior Brood is up for Floid. Does he go for the Barb Strangler to try and control them, or keep them in melee to go straight toe to toe, leaping in, disrupting them, backing it up with the Lictor Alpha perhaps, and some Hormagaunts? I think he does need, yes he is getting the Adrenal Glands for his Hormagaunts. Adrenal Gland Hormagaunts are awesome, really underrated by new players, I think, as a tier 1 unit, and they scale pretty damn well with Endless Swarm and Melee Synapse. So dangerous, they can kill, so really killy little unit. There's the flesh hooks on the Commander knob, and he will die. And now Warrior Brood, that is very risky, running into a Pain Boy backed up by sluggers. There's crippling poison. Barb Strangler is up now, gives them this area of effect, instant suppression weapon, suppressing the Pain Boy there, and he gets crippled, but he's running after those warriors, and he will do a lot of damage to their heavy armor with that power melee weapon he has. Pretty damn aggressive build by Adilla. I think stick bombs might do well here when everything gets grouped up into that big melee. If he can throw his stick bombs right, he's going to hurt a lot of stuff. He's gone for the better combat kit. A pretty generic upgrade for the Commander knob, gives him better health and energy. Lictor Alpha decapping that central wreck point, which is probably going to change hands quite a lot. We have this really out of the way southeast contested victory point, which is now being taken by Floid, upgrading all of his gaunts and gants and the barb strangler as well. You can swap this thing out for adrenal glands in tier 2, which gives the warriors some nice flexibility. It's 25 power for this thing, but it's very, very good in tier 1. Are we going to see some Storm Boys from Adilla and really put some pressure on those Barb Strangler warriors? 465, 426. No sign of the Feed the Tendrils for the Lictor Alpha, which are a pretty ridiculous tier 1 weapon. 64 DPS power melee with a self-heal in tier 1 is kind of outrageous. Here come the double sluggers. Where's the Pain Boy though? He's there. Been suppressed as well. That's nicely played. Doesn't have the energy though to flesh hook him. There's another nicely placed Barb Strangler shot. He really needs to work on splitting those double sluggers up. Pain Boy getting very close though. Was crippled, and then the Hormagaunts coming in. And here are some fully upgraded shooter boys, and these guys can make a difference with that aiming. What's that suppression? Forcing off Floyd's army. I do think he could have stayed in play there. Afraid of what this Commando might do, and he does have stick bombs on the way, but now he's left his power completely undefended. And here we see burn that house used on the power node. As you can see, making very short work of it and doing aerial effect damage. I don't think that is intended, and I do believe it was actually banned in the recent monthly Rumble Tournament 8, but Adilla using it there to great effect, completely wipes the power farm. Ouch. Floyd has some more Spore Mines though, and goes tier 2 first. Against double sluggers, what is he going to do though? Does he go for Gene Stealers with melee synapse and get right in Adilla's face, punish him for getting those double sluggers, maybe a Tyrant Guard as well, or otherwise? We will see. Surprised we didn't see anything from Lictor Alpha. Toxic Miasma might have been pretty good, or at least some pheromones action. 454, 386. Pheromones are really going to help those Hormagaunts when they wade in. Ouch! Stick bombs thrown at the feet of the Kommando, almost wiping those Hormagaunts. That was awesome play. Baited them in. He does get the grenade icon. We've lost the indicator for the Kommando, which is the bug with replays. There's the stun bomb. Warriors are stunned, but it's not going to make a huge difference. Annoying and not much more. Floyd taking his natural back, replaces all of his generators, and now Adilla goes tier 2. He's bashed those gens pretty nicely. Surely we're not going to see his own threat with double sluggers around. Adilla, I think, well, is he going to go straight into a war truck or Weird Boy? Or both? I think both would be pretty damn good here. Weird Boy. That warp vomit is just, he just pays for himself with a good warp vomit. No sign of Endless Swarm. I don't think we'll see it early. Lictor Alpha is still level 1. Kommando also still level 1. Killed a bunch of Hormagaunts there. The Pain Boy does have his stronger Git source queued up for tier 2, and he gets the unstable fuel injection ability for free once he gets into tier 2, and that could make a huge difference in a big melee fight. It really does catch players off guard, the amount of damage that thing puts out. Knockback as well, of course. 433, 381. Hormagaunts idle there. Shooters have capped this contested power, and it's being noded. These guys with their big shooters and a knob leader do not want to fight the Hormagaunts though in melee combat. Adilla not paying attention to these guides. They lost a couple of models, did they? Lost one model as they ran in there. And look at the damage they did to those shooters. Lucky perhaps to get away with 4 models. Lictor Alpha being sneaky. The shooters now off the field, so they won't be able to detect this guy. There's the Pain Boy, needs to back away. Healing himself. You see the massive amounts of health regeneration just gave himself with the stronger Git source. No sign of the knob leaders. In fact, here they come, and it's a war truck that Adilla goes for. This could cause huge amounts of problems for Floyd. It's gone for a zone thrope. Was not expecting that against double sluggers and a Pain Boy. He does have Spore Mines there to counter initiate. He could use his Hormagaunts as well to counter initiate. I still think we should get some pheromones on the field, Mr. Floyd. spore mines are wiped out. Sluggers trying to move in on the zone thrope. Painboy just about gets away, and here is the war truck allowing those Orks to reinforce. Needs to get closer though to reinforce these guys. That knob leader really is scary. It's going to lose the squad though. They need to retreat through a whole bunch of stuff. There's a flesh hook. It did not wipe them though. They got close enough to reinforce, and they just put them right back in to the war truck. War truck saving his ass, and now he can put pressure on. If you give Orks field presence, they become so scary, and that's what this war truck does. Zone thrope does have a very, very good anti-vehicle snare. Lictor Alpha himself cannot get a heavy melee weapon, though I'm not sure how well he does with the corrosive claws against the vehicle, since it debuffs the damage resistance and it's a power weapon. 433 258. Stun bomb thrown in and doesn't hit anything. Here comes the war truck, gonna unload a bunch of sluggers, I think. Going straight after the zone thrope. Oh, there you cannot reinforce while you're inside the war truck, so you might back this thing off now. But look at this. We have heavy melee warrior brood because of the adrenal gland. Can they catch the war truck though? By all rights, they shouldn't be able to. The zone thrope, of course, can change that. There's a heal on the Commando knob. Sluggers getting out of the war truck, and a massive charge against the Tyranid lines. Ormagants are going to wipe if they're not careful. Lictor Alpha is... where is he? He's on the minimap somewhere. 433 236. He's disrupting these capping shooters. There's a capillary tower. Now the generators can get burnt down again. Painboy needs to stop chasing here. Really needs to stop chasing. 433 236. Adilla forgetting about his Painboy. He's going to lose him. That is painful. Down it goes, and there's burned that house again on the generators. He must have thought that he told him to go elsewhere. 433 236. War truck. Super value war truck. Look at the difference it's made to these engagements. So much field presence now for these Orks. 433 236 steel because of the 1v1. Zone thrope getting shots in is now level 2. And is actually doing a huge amount of work versus these sluggers, because they're getting bogged down in close combat with those crippling poisons going off as well. And he loses one of his sluggers. Wow, the zone thrope paying off big time. Got a lot of kills there already halfway through level 2. Adilla overstaying his welcome big time. Perhaps a bit frazzled by that Painboy loss. That was an unnecessary slugger loss, I think. He's trying to get a model off these warriors. The war truck doesn't do a lot of damage though with that shooter on it. Big shooter even. He's still going after him. He might unload his sluggers and try and wipe out those warriors. Does get a model. I think he's pushing his luck here. He needs to get out of there. It's gonna be a 2-1 to Floid. He has his natural and has the contested. But here comes shooters. That was a good engagement. There's double zone thropes now. And that is trouble for Adilla. Does have a sneaky commando, but the warriors will spot him. Is he going to get Storm Boys? Double Storm Boys would be incredibly fun to see. Slugger's going after the Lictor Alpha, forcing him off, but he did decap the natural there, and he's got adrenal glands. 433 225, a single cap for Floid. Shooters there decapping the contested, and that was a special shooter, high explosive shells from the command knob. An awesome ability. Did he take out the other capillary tower? He did. There's one here, given a speed buff and a sight radius buff to these Tyranids. Command knob taking huge amounts of damage. Double termagants really do spit out some pretty good damage. Level 3 and level 2 as well. Backed up by the double zone thropes, health regen. Gonna be pretty cool. Lictor Alpha comes out of base. Hormagaunts do have the endless swarm, as do the double termagants. Adilla goes straight into tier 3. Did he have much choice? I don't think there was any one unit he could have got to swing the engagements his way against double zone thropes and warriors and all sorts of things, unless he put a lot of effort into splitting up and trying to split up Floyd stuff, but tricky to pull off. Level 2 and level 1 zone thropes. 433 207. He has a lot of red. We might see a rocks here and a big blob of Tyranids decimating them. Level 3 Lictor Alpha is decapping a contested now. Adilla's got his work cut out. War truck reinforced. Certainly earned that. Just overstayed in that engagement across this power and losing those sluggers. Really setting back. Now he needs to try and edge his way back into this game. Gain small advantages. Or maybe not, just go for rocks. On retreating Tyranids, can he get one of the zone thropes? I think he did. Yes, he got both of the zone thropes. What a nuke. High explosive shells into it. Beautifully done by Adilla. And that was so painful. Floid is tier 3 himself and has enough for a nuke himself. So screw incremental gains. Just drop a nuke on him. Adilla's right back into this. 4-3-3, 1-4-7. It's a 2-1 for Floid. And he's using his Lictor Alpha quite well here, I think. He used him to disrupt those shooters instead of just weighing into the engagement. Didn't have a lot to give. Doesn't have his pheromone, so couldn't really support with that. And now he's sneaking around to try and decap this, I think. Sluggers are there, capping that natural wreck point back. There's another capillary tower which Adilla's not taking out. There we go. 4-3-3, 130. A looted tank for Adilla. Obviously expecting monstrous creatures, and you want tanks for those in general. Warrior Brood level 2. That Pain Boy loss was pretty brutal as well. Not sure what happened there. Sluggers are forced off though, Floyd putting the pressure on. He's completely left alone this power, which has given +9 to Adilla for quite a while now. And looted tank hits the field. This is a game-changing unit at this stage with what Floyd's got. He pretty much can't touch it. His Warrior Brood should not be able to get close to it. War truck keeping its distance as well. You can see the pathetic amount of damage it does though to those Hormagaunts, struggling to take a model off them. They are under melee synapse, 1600 health I should say. Warrior Brood getting some rear arm hits. Here comes shooters. Where's aiming? What's that? It's not there. Rear armor hits on that war truck still. Need to keep it moving. There's the looted tank. Single cap for Floyd. Can he see this out? Can he avoid this tank, keep things capped, and take this game despite that horrific rocks? He's got a tier 3 Lictor on the way and he still has that nuke of his own. It's not a very good nuke to use versus vehicles though, and I'm not sure it's going to be worth using it on 2 squads of Orks, so he's probably going to be saving that red for towers and maybe the Stalk Global to try and take out that Commando knob. It is that tier 3 Lictor. This guy has almost 100 DPS, heavy melee damage, flesh hooks. He can infiltrate for free. And I think his flesh hook's just bugged out there because he's staying still strangely. Yeah, that's unfortunate. You can also leap into combat, much like the deadly jump that the Lictor Alpha can get. Corrosive Claws he's gone for. Power melee weapon with a debuff on hits. Commando knob trying to get away. He's level 6. Is he going to get flesh hooked to death? He is not. In fact, he flesh hooks a shooter boy instead. That was a mistake. Maybe he didn't see him. Maybe he was too far away. I know the flesh hook range was reduced recently. 4-3-3, 57. Shooter boys reinforcing off the war truck. There's a Tyrannid formation and it catches the shooter boys perfectly with the middle spire, but does not wipe them. Those are still level 1 shooters as well. Pretty unlucky not to wipe them there. They're now reinforcing off the war truck, which survives, as does the looted tank. Gene Stealers now on the way for Floyd. He does love to use his Gene Stealers, but against a tank, I'm not sure if that was the best choice. Venom Brood is not actually something I see Floyd use very often. Surprised that he didn't wait for a Carnifex, though. We do have a Commando squad on the field called in from the global bar of the Commando knob, Really useful little unit, good range DPS on disruption, and they have that 50% faster capping trait. The Commander Knob also gets a rocket launcher. Long time ago he used to have a chain axe, which was pretty silly. For 1350. There's the big boomy shot from the tank, hits terrain. That was good for Floid. Sluggers forced off. Double cap for Adilla. But Floyd's composition is pretty dangerous, but is it the right composition? Because he can't really touch this tank still. He does have some very dangerous and powerful melee, but can he catch the looted tank to get it onto it? He might need to bite the bullet and get another zone thrope for that snare, because if he does, it's going to be a very dead looted tank. He needs to keep this moving, Adilla. Down goes the looted tank, 2 rear armor hits, finished it off from the Lictor. Looted tank's getting chased, he's not moving it, he needs to keep moving it. Look at the damage on that rear armor, that was scary. He really is going to need to be very careful with that looted tank. Genestealer's just about getting away. That's a lot of reinforcing to do. They have those rending claws, which is why you saw the heavy melee icon, the hammer icon above their heads there. 377, 49, 2-to-1 cap for Floyd. Can he see this out? He should be able to. I think Adilla should send his Commander Knobs down here. Decap. Another reason they're so good at capping is if a unit comes to bother them, they can disrupt it and throw their burner bomb and make it think again. Probably force them off unless it's a big tough unit, and then continue capping. 377, 38. They can also stop a unit's that capping in that way and then take over the cap when they force them off as well. Shooters still haven't leveled somehow. The amount of stuff that's died and they haven't leveled. Trying to finish this cap with them for some reason. Flesh hook on the Knob Leader. Finishes the cap, but was that worth it? No. Lost a whole bunch of units, models I should say there. In fact, he's going to lose the entire squad, I think. Yes. There's a whole bunch of stun bombs from the stick bombers Adilla's gone for. Maybe going to try and catch some melee units running in with some stick bombs. 351, 38, or do that. Love the Daka into stick bombs. No burner bomb, oh there it is. 342, 38, Termagant's in retreat, now he's hitting power now. Adilla, he's taken Floyd's natural, there's the kaboom, bang, and he continues to cap because he has the mega boom kit, which means that he doesn't go flying when he uses the kaboom, or doesn't lose health, or both, or something. Also makes his stun bomb last longer. I think it's a larger radius on his stun bomb, I think it is. 322, 38. High explosive shells almost wiping the Genestealers. In fact, they do wipe. A looted tank finishing them off. Floyd, that was painful. He might have thrown this away with his insistence for a full melee composition after losing those zone thropes. Those Genestealers are a very strange choice, I think, faced with a looted tank. Maybe if he could get a zone thrope out as well, maybe that's what was his plan. Genestealers and a zone thrope to snare it. He just bled way too much chasing this thing down into base, and now Adilla's is capping up the map here. Adilla basically has everything. We have Hormagaunts here decapping, but there are some stick bombs. Level 3 Hormagaunts, ouch, wrecked there. Stick bombers level up. 2-to-1 cap for Adilla. This is now his game to lose. I think this looted tank really has done the business, and these Commandos a shrewd choice. Taking that central wreck point. Stuff blowing up. Floyd still has this very dangerous Lictor, and now menacing Visage up on his Lictor Alpha. That could prove very, very useful. He can stop something capping with it. 292, 27 is going after the looted tank. Sluggers are there to counter initiate, and Commandos also there, busy capping though. In fact, the Sluggers are forced off by the menacing Visage, the Terrify ability. 276, 27. Really nice, love the Daka there. stopping the Lictor Alpha. I think it was trying to leap behind looted tank. Down goes the Lictor Alpha. Triple cap now for Adilla. And I think he's got this. He's called in some more Commandos. Or has he purchased them? Doesn't matter. They're on the field. Triple cap still. Thought I heard a rocks there. But it was just these stick bombs going off, I believe. Warrior Brood now taking the contested. Floid not giving up. Burner bomb. Ouch. Forcing them off. Just double Commandos at the end. Really paying for themselves. These guys just guarding the natural there. They can infiltrate, of course, as well. It's an active infiltration, though. It's not passive when they're idle, like Gene Stealers and Catechins have. 198, 27. These Hormagaunts obsessed with that wreck point. And there's Kaboom in retreat path. Sluggers also lurking. They're going to wipe this Hormagaun Brood. No, they don't move. That was odd. Very odd. Are they going to finish it off in a way with the looted tank? One more shot? No. Hormagaunts live. Do they? Just about. 14 hit points. The Lictors on the prowl again, going after that natural wreck point of Adilla, who has just whacked out a bunch of Termagants. He's not going to have enough to repel them, or is he? It's the Lictor Alpha trying to decap, taking tons of damage. Those Commandos do some serious range damage. 168, 27. The tier 3 Lictor going after them. The contested is being dealt with by the Commando himself. He just stunned these warriors and now he's going to kaboom them in the face and run away. That was very annoying, but does go down. 161, 27. Adila holding on, has tons of resources. Should get another looted tank on the field, I think. Floyd did take the VP, but it's being decapped immediately and is going to lose the Lictor Alpha in retreat path. But the tier 3 Lictor does get away. Level 2, almost level 3 this guy. 152, 27. Oh, there's the without number, a very controversial new global ability for the Tyranids. Drops fully upgraded, well not fully upgraded, but Toxin Sat, Termagants and Adrenal Gland Hormagaunts onto the field. I have a feeling it works even if it don't have line of sight, but I'm not sure if I'm thinking correctly there. But you can drop them on the field and it's a great way to reinforce your lines. 115, 27, I think it's 400 rec, 150 red or 100 red. Ouch, that burner bomb is painful to these double Termagants. He's going to lose both of the squads here. Both of the broods wiped out by a single Commando squad. These guys level 4, they've killed so much stuff. 103, 27. The second Tyranid formation. It's actually a really good nuke, I think. A lot of people dislike it, but the speed at which it comes onto the field after the initial markings appear is very, very quick. You also get that synapse, it one-shot structures and lots and lots of disruption from it. You can cause total havoc with that nuke, so I think it's pretty good. Knob squad on the field for Adilla, and there's no way that VP is going to be taken now. Looted tank coming forward. I do think these spires should be non-crushable though. If the capillary towers are, surely these should be as well. 78, 27. Being shot down though by the looted tank anyway. This thing level 4, of course it is. Lictor jumping into a whole lot of trouble there. Had no idea a knob squad was lurking. Stick bombers as well, which are pretty decent in melee combat, though there's only 4 of them in the squad. 75, 27. Floyd guarding this contested VP. Here comes the Commander Knob, level 9, full of tricks to ruin these guys. High explosive shells, kaboom, which is going to be wasted there. Also has stick bombs I should say, that he can switch to. There's the high explosive shells. Warrior Brood just staying nearby so that they can give their melee synapse to the warriors. He stuns himself though. That increased radius stun bomb being underestimated. There's the burner bomb, and there's another kaboom. I think it has a 20-second cooldown, which is awesomely good for the Commander Knob. Anyway, not very good for Floyd. What is that Hormagaun doing? Warrior Brood are going to be taken out in melee combat by Commandos. They are, and the Synapse Backlash alone is enough to finish off those poor Termagants and Hormagaunts. There's a Spore Mines and a Rocks. I think he thought it was going to be another without number, which is why he used the Rocks there. 56-27. Look at the map. But this Lictor and Lictor Alpha continue to cause him problems. He's died quite a lot, the Lictor Alpha, but being repurchased by Floid. He has absolutely nothing else left, but it's not giving up here. 53-27. Commandos capping that contested. Commander did go down. Stick Bombers now coming to cap. 44-27. It's Adilla's game. Floyd just not one to give up. Flesh Hook trying to finish off the Commandos, but they are not a squad leader. Died last squad, so they were able to survive. The onslaught. Here comes a Nob squad. He doesn't want to fight those guys. Level 6 Lictor Alpha is forced off. 17-27. There's a triple cap for Adilla, and he's going to take this game, and it's all because of this looted tank, which was not countered effectively by Floyd. There it is. That Rocks, I suppose, helped as well, which wiped out 2 zone thropes, which was pretty nuts. So there you have it. Orks versus Tyranids. And it did not disappoint. Look at the amount of carnage here. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.